to solve an equation, we need to make sure that we have no parentheses. We need to make sure that all of the variables are on one side of our equation and that all of the numbers are on the other side of the equation. Today, we're going to be looking at problems where we have variables starting out on both sides of our equation. And so we're going to learn how do we do these problems when we need to end up with all of our variables just on one side. So the first thing I'm going to do when I look at this problem is I'm going to put this line down here through my equal sign. Okay, and the reason I like to do that is because when I talk about sides of my equation, we've got the left side of the equal sign and the right side of the equal sign. So we use this strategy, don't call me after midnight, to represent how we're solving these complex problems. Remember, these just helped us remember the order. But the D actually stands for distribute. That's the first thing I do. The C is combine like terms. The first M is where we move all of our variables to one side. Then the A, we undo our addition and subtraction. And finally, we undo our multiplication and division. Now, not every problem is going to have all of these steps. So you have to look at this problem and think of this as almost like a checklist. It says distribute. Well, there's nothing to distribute, so that part's already done. The next step is I need to combine like terms. Well, when we combine like terms, we need to look at each side of our equation separately. Again, the left side of this yellow line and then the right side. So on the left side here, I don't have any like terms, so there's nothing to combine. So then I'll look at the right side. Again, no like terms. No like terms means nothing to combine, so that step is done. So now I'm on the step where we have to move our variables. Remember, we want all of our variables on one side of the equal sign. Right now, I have some on the left and some on the right. I can move them either way. I can move them all to the left or all to the right. It is up to me to decide, and I will tell you that for some reason, I like having my variables on the left. I've always done my math that way. So I'm going to take this 5a and I'm going to move it over to this side where my 7a is. Now, if I want to move it, I want you to think about what I have to do here. If I want to move it, I want to get rid of it on this side, which means I essentially have to make this 5a a 0, so that all I have left on this side is the 3. To make this a 0, I have to use my inverse operation to do that. Because if I have 5a minus 5a, now it's gone from this side when I combine these together. But think about your equality properties. I can't subtract on the right side unless I subtract the same thing on the left side. So I'm going to subtract 5a over here also. And that's going to move my variables to one side because watch what happens. 7a minus 5a will give me 2a. I still have this minus 3. On the right side I have this 3. And then this 5a and this minus 5a, they combine together and they equal 0. So they're 0 now, so I have no more variables on the right side. So now that we've moved our variables, it's time to undo my addition or subtraction. So I see I've got a minus 3. I want to undo that, so I'm going to use the opposite of minus 3, which is plus 3. I have to keep it equal, so I'm going to use the plus 3 on both sides. That's my equality property of addition. And now I'm going to combine these together. So I'm going to have 2a on the left. I have negative 3 plus 3, that equals 0. And then on the right side, 3 plus 3 is 6. And now my very last step is to undo my multiplication and division. So this says 2 times a. So the opposite of times 2 is to divide by 2. Divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I'm going to be left with 1a. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the answer to this problem is a equals 3. Let's try another one. I'm going to slide this over a little bit. I'm going to put my line down through my equal sign because I like that. All right. Now we're going to look at it. Do we have anything to distribute here? Nope. No parentheses, so we're done with that step. Combine like terms. So anything over here? No, no like terms. Check the other side. No like terms. So that step is done. Now we have to see if we have to move our variables. Well, when I look at this, I have variables on the left and variables on the right. So I need to move them together. You know I like to move them to the left-hand side, so I'm going to take this and move it over here. Now look at this. This says minus 2x. Remember, when I move it, I want this to become a 0. So I have to use my inverse property. The inverse of negative 2x or minus 2x is going to be plus 2x. And to keep it equal, if I add 2x on the right, I have to add 2x on the left. So now I have 3x plus 2x, which is 5x, minus 10. And on the right side, I have my 15. And then this negative 2x and this plus 2x. When I combine those together, they equal 0. So all my variables on one side. Now it's time to undo my addition and subtraction. So I see this says minus 10. To undo it, I'm going to add 10. Where'd my writing go? Uh-oh. I think my screen froze. There we go. Plus 10. Sorry about that. Little technical glitch there. I'm going to add 10 on both sides. And what we're going to be left with, remember this negative 10 and this plus 10 will cancel out, become 0. So I'll have 5x on the left. Now I'll have 15 plus 10 gives me 25 on the right. And my very last step is going to be to undo that multiplication or division. 5 times x. The opposite of times 5 is to divide by 5. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we get 1x equals 5. So I want to try one more problem with you. This one, hopefully you noticed before we even get started. There are some parentheses here. So you should know what that means. Let me go ahead. Hang on, we're freezing again. My computer is upset today. All right, we're going to put this in. Now we're ready to get started. Hopefully you notice that this time we do have to distribute because we've got those parentheses. So we're going to start right here. We're going to distribute, so I'm going to be left with 2 times 5b is 10b. 2 times 3 is 6. That's going to equal 20 plus 8b. So that's my distribute. We need to check and see if we need to combine like terms. So no like terms over here. No like terms over here, so that step is done. So we're ready to move our variables. See if you have variables on both sides, which I do. So I'm going to take this 8b on the right, and I'm going to move it over here to the left. So if this is 8b, if I want to get rid of it, I have to subtract it. When I subtract it on the right side, I'm also going to subtract it on the left side. And that's going to leave me with 10b minus 10b minus b plus 6. And on the right side, I have 20. Sorry about this. 20. And then this 8b and this minus 8b would equal 0. So now I'm going to undo my addition and subtraction. So plus 6, let's undo that. We'll subtract 6 on both sides. And we'll get 2b. This 6 minus 6 is 0. And that's going to equal 14. And last but not least, we'll undo that multiplication or division. So 2 times b, we're going to divide by 2. And we'll get b equals 7.